P1 status. Okay, that is now inventory. Yeah, so I made a little bit of a mess, I think, just reorganizing everything. We probably make all of these the same, like the border the same gray, and let it connect to this inventory. If we're not going to have like a pure black there, don't know. So our camera has an interesting little thing here. So the first thing I realized is there's absolutely no reason to lerp that position. So let's just go straight to the position here. And this here should be rotation speed times delta, and say const rotation speed equals, and so it was 0.05 before, but we are timesing it by relative about 100, I think, because delta is usually about 100th. Okay, so that's going to make the rotation of the camera spin relative to the time. And in fact, I think that can come out of the physics process and just be part of the process. Okay, and now we have this new function, and we're going to say target position, right? And this is going to be target position, and so is this. Okay, and we're going to start, well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to grab the target dot position, and then we're going to add the target dot I don't know, actually. Let's just put a breakpoint here and figure out what that should be. So the target, really, we should be able to tell that it's a kinematic body 2D. And then that way we should be able to get some more information. Alright, so our target is there, and we have a whole lot of constants available, script variables, but I think what we're really interested in is this linear velocity. So we can add the target's linear velocity to its position and see how that looks. Oops, that should be kinematic body 2D. Sorry, rigid body 2D.
Phase 1. Collect stars and weapons.
So what I expect will happen is the camera will go ahead of the player, but when you rotate, it's not taking the rotation into account. So it's going to look quite odd. Oh no, it does seem to actually take the rotation into account, I think. So obviously that is a bit too much. And we don't want it to zoom quite that much. Okay. So then we can just divide this, or times this by, we'll call this the velocity multiplier. And set that as a constant up here. And I think maybe just 20% should be fine. And this time we can actually loop our position, and I think we need to put delta in as well, don't we? Delta times So if we put in a delta of 1.0, then, well, in fact, we can just say equals 1.0 by default. So if we don't give it a delta, then it'll just move straight there. Otherwise, we'll move there. Let's see how that feels.
Phase 1. Collect stars.
And the next thing I want to do is I want to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I think instead what we need to do is we need to create an offset variable. And it's going to be a vector 2. And we will say target offset. Okay. Okay, so every time, every physics process, we're going to say our target offset is equal to a linear interpolation going from our target offset to our target linear velocity by delta, right? And here, then we'd say it's just our target offset here. And we don't need delta in these cases. Okay. So what that's going to do is it's going to move our offset relative to the player.
Phase 1. Collect stars and
but it's going to interpolate it quite softly. So you can see as we accelerate, the camera goes a little bit forward to sort of keep that player. Does that make sense? So as we accelerate, the camera is offsetting slightly to the right. And I think we can maybe amp this up a little bit now because we're lerping it. So it should be quite gentle anyway. So now, there we go. This is ever so slightly so then as we head backwards, the camera is going to sort of move relative to our velocity. I don't know whether that's something we want. I don't know whether it's feeling better that way. I mean, I think this is too much. Although it does really feel quite cool when you're going forward. You're getting to see more ahead of you. And then when you slow down, it'll zoom back again. Okay.
fire shield. Laser. Ice. Laser.
All right, I think that's okay, but it's just a little bit too much, so I'll just put that down. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to set the scale based on our velocity as well. So let's create a const here and say default scale equals, and if we jump into this camera we can see, are we smoothing? We're not smoothing. We're doing our own smoothing, so it's fine. Sorry, zoom is 0.6. Zoom. Actually, I probably should be doing, oh. Okay, so we're going to say 0.6. By default. And in fact, we could call this zoom. And then let's create another constant, and we're going to call this zoom multiplier. And I guess we'll just say, start with something weird like 0.5. I have no idea how this is going to look, so maybe it's worth putting this back in the physics process as well. And one thing also we can do that later. I'm just thinking we can actually save this desired rotation as a variable. Let's do it now. So I can say calculate desired rotation, switch this to a variable, and say var desired rotation starts off at 0, and then func on ready, we can say our desired rotation is equal to calculate desired rotation. So now we're just doing this calculation once instead of doing it on every frame. So it should be a little tiny bit faster.